Welcome back to another stream. I'm Shango. This is I'm Shango Tech, where I talk about technology and what's going on. As you can see from the title, the Mac Pro. So let's kind of rewind from the Mac Pro because the Mac Pro itself as a device, as a computer, has gone through many transitions. Some not so great, like the trash can, and others. So originally it was that Tower Mac Pro, the one that we know, the cheese grater Tower Mac Pro. I don't know if that was the original Mac Pro, but that's the one I can remember. That's the one that's in my mind right now. And Apple did amazing with that Mac Pro. Then for some reason, Apple wanted to make this Mac Pro much smaller. But at that time, Apple wasn't with their own chip, the Apple Silicon. So if you know the history, Apple was using Intel chips. And Intel chips are power hungry chips. And we also have to talk about Steve Jobs, and we also have to talk about why his name just popping on my mind. And their designer, the one who always talks soft in his videos. I can't remember his name. If his name pop up back, I'll say it. We're talking about the designer. He designed a lot of the Apple products. He's a guy who believes into design, form, more than function. He's the reason why they remove SD cards and all them stuff. His name is right on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember his name right now. I'm going to find the name because we're live streaming. I can't remember him. Why am I blanking on this? And I know him name, Johnny Ives. Yes. All right. Sorry about that. Johnny Ives. So he's the one that believes in more form and not function. And he and Steve Jobs was a pair. Steve Jobs kinda is a form man also, and not necessarily a function man. Steve Jobs himself is a designer. He's more a designer than anything else. And he and Johnny Ives was that, they call that perfect joining of designers who is trying to create product with a design in mind, but also has some function. So Johnny Ive designed some product that are very questionable, some stuff that you're like, come on. Like we're talking about the Magic Mouse with the charging port at the bottom of the Magic Mouse. So you cannot use this Magic Mouse while it's being charged. Ridiculousness. So, with that being said, Apple come again, design. So, we move from the Tower Mac Pro, then we move to the trash can Mac Pro. Now, the trash can Mac Pro, amazing. It was something to see. You're like, whoa, a computer can fit in this. But again, Apple was using the Intel chips. So they try their best to do all the cooling they can possibly do. And it was all built inside. There was not much flexibility in terms of upgrading stuff. I think you could have upgraded the memory, but you cannot upgrade a lot of stuff. Just the memory. Now, really and truly, the trash can for me was it was a flop. Persons bought it, but the trash can was a flop. Like right now, MKHB is using a trash can Mac Pro as a plant holder. That's how ridiculous it got. Because you bought it, and then after a while, it just become obsolete. You can't use it. So it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Persons have it. You literally can get the refurbished trash can right now for what? This is a 24 gig, 1 terabyte, October 2013 for $1,000. Person are literally throwing out this, and I can tell you when persons bought this computer, they bought it for 5, 6, probably even $10,000 at that time. Ridiculous. But I understand it's a computer and stuff like that. It doesn't age well. There's a next one I'm looking at eBay right now. Well, it's not available, but I'm seeing it for $400. As I said, persons are throwing away these because this computer means nothing and makes no sense right now. Especially given that we are in the Apple Silicon multiverse or universe. So they put out the Mac Pro. The Mac Pro was, how would I say, was a flop. So persons bought it, but it wasn't spectacular. Remember, these computer, when you talk about Mac Pro, it is very niche. There are not a lot of persons. Shoot. The Mac Pro is very niche. There are not a lot of persons who, one, can afford the Mac Pro, and two, would need this level of computing power to purchase a Mac Pro. Now, that happened. It flopped. You know, we were still in the Intel days. Intel days when everything is hot. So the Mac Pro, even the cooling of the Mac Pro was very special. I wish I could actually bring it up for kind of show you. Like, it's no longer on the Apple side, so you're not gonna get that Apple look of the Mac Pro, so to speak, to see what the Mac Pro look like. Maybe I can find a site that has it. Originally, I just want to talk about the Mac Pro that they have now. Yeah, let me just stick with what I really want to talk about. So the Mac Pro, amazing. Everything built on the motherboard. You can do a heap of configuration. Then you think you can add memory and stuff like that. After the Mac Pro failure, the cooling, it was having problems. The power hungry chip that Intel put in it, causing a lot of problem. So they refresh. You know what I mean? People forgot about the Mac Pro. And then in 2019, December 10th to be exact, 2019, Apple released the Mac Pro cheese grater style, which is the Mac Pro that is currently available. It shouldn't be, but it is. Really and truly, I'm at this point in 2023, I am questioning whether or not Apple purposely kill off the cheese grater Mac Pro, because as it is now, with the recent release of the Mac Mini M2 Pro, that computer is running circles around the 2019 Mac Pro. And yes, it's 4 years. So we understand there's a lot of technology change, a lot of stuff has changed. However, let's jump to Apple website because however, Apple is still selling this Mac Pro, which I find so ridiculous. So you go on the Apple website, you click on Macs, and you see it in the lineup. The Mac Pro. So the Mac Mini and the Mac Studio literally running circles around the Mac Pro. Now, let's look at the price of the Mac Pro. We're going to spec it. We're going to spec it out. We're going to give it the ultimate spec. So, at the time when it released, it was amazing. Amazing. And I have to give Apple props for that. It was an amazing feat, amazing computer. You can put up to 1 terabyte of RAM. Amazing. But currently, it is far from amazing. Look at how you release it. And remember, this is a computer that has some addition, like ridiculous addition. The wheels for the Mac Pro, they're $700. That's how ridiculous the Mac Pro is. So let's look at the specs. Let's spec it out so we can see what the price is. So we'll go with the configuration of the Mac Pro, not the rack one for like server. Yeah, sorry about that. So the Mac Pro, it's what I call it now? 7,000. So we're starting at 7,000. So 8,000. We don't even add in. Well, I think I did actually add some stuff. So let's bring it back to the base model of the Mac Pro. So the base model of the Mac Pro starts at $6,000. Yeah? We're looking at $6,000. See the price? $6,000. All right? So let's just max this out and see what the price can go to. Because we're not trying to buy this. Nobody should be buying a Mac Pro. This Mac Pro, actually, maybe when Apple come out with a Apple Silicon Mac Pro, as a matter of fact, Apple has failed their transition. Because Apple said the Apple Silicon transition would have been a 2-year transition. That 2-year mark has now passed. For some strange reason, the Mac Pro is not here as yet. Mind you, I cannot afford a Mac Pro, nor do I need a Mac Pro. My Mac Studio is perfectly fine for my purpose. And even a Mac Mini M2 Pro would work perfectly for me. Now, let's spec these things out. So we're adding the 2.5 gigahertz, 28 core Intel Xeon W processor. Turbo boost up to 4.4 gigahertz. So you can turbo boost that processor. And that's an additional, let me go back to the first. That's an additional $7,000 for the best processor that can go into this machine. Now, let's bring it to this 1 terabyte. Are you seeing the price for 1 terabyte of storage from Apple? And this is DDR4. I think we're at DDR5 now, or probably even further. Are you seeing it? It's 25,000. Come on. But that's an Apple thing, so we're not going to lament on it. Now, let's look at the memory. So it starts with 8 gig, and we're going to max the memory out. No, that's the memory. 1 terabyte of memory. So what is this? Oh, I think this is actually the GPU memory now. Yes, this is the GPU memory. So we're going to also max out the GPU memory. 2 Radeon Pro W60 6800X Duo with 64 gigs of GDDR6 memory each. That's $9,000, $10,000. So at that, we're now looking at $47,000. And as I said, this thing is very niche. Many persons won't be able to afford this. I cannot afford this. I am just looking at it and kind of examining one of the possible reasons why Apple had to kill this computer. One, the transition, moving away from Intel. And two, even the cost of this computer was so ridiculous that I don't think they were selling a lot of these computers. All right, so we're looking at 8 terabyte, another 2,400. And remember, if you wanted your rendering to be nice, you have to get the Apple Afterburner card. We're looking at the next $2,000. And not to mention the wheels. So we're looking at stainless steel frame with wheels. And you got a plus $400 for that. I always have to give them that because those prices are ridiculous. But again, Apple sells a stand for their Pro XDR that is $1,000, just an aluminum stand. No it don't have no computing in it. All it does is just hold your Pro Display XDR. It's $1,000. That's Apple. So we're now looking at $52,000, $53,000. This computer need to be strict. Like Apple need to take this off their website right now. Right now. I can tell you that my Mac Studio that I have the Mac Studio Max 1 terabyte SSD and 64 gigs of RAM. And remember, I have the Mac Studio Max M1 Max. So imagine that my $3,000, $4,000 computer, which is how much percent of that? Probably like about 1%, 50. 5 would be 1%, so less than 1%. No. Yeah. Less than 1% of this, and my Mac Studio is killing this. So can you imagine this being on the website still? I don't even know. I don't even know why this is on the website still. But I understand they haven't made a transition as yet, so it's still there. But nobody should be even thinking about this, because this computer to me is obsolete. This computer right now, the Mac Pro, the Apple Mac Pro, it don't make no sense. None whatsoever. But it's still there. It is still there. MacBook Pros, I remember, that is just the base of the computer. We're not talking about if you're gonna purchase the Pro Display XDR. We're not talking about that. Ridiculous. Let's probably look at some comparison. So, is it there? Yes, the Intel Mac Pro. No, I'm at that. Do they even make it? All right, see it here. The Mac Pro. Versus the, where is it? The M2 MacBook here. Yeah. And then the M1 Mac Studio. Yeah. So look at the price difference. One starts at 5,000, the other starts at 6. One starts at 6,000, next one starts at 600, the next one starts at 200. 2,000. Sorry. And look at the difference. We're looking at the difference here. So your Mac Pro don't have a media engine. It don't have a media engine, but it have its graphics here with all of this Radeon processing and all of that. The memory goes up to 1.5 terabyte. The Ultra go up to 128, I mean. The storage on the Mac Pro go up to 8 terabyte. Everything else go up to 8 terabyte. And it's just ridiculous. And this is the reason why I'm saying the Mac Pro shouldn't be on the website right now. It's there. We're talking about costs. We're talking about, even if you max out, let's max out the Mac Mini. So the M2 Mac Mini, let's put it at its max to kind of get a sense of what the price is. Best processor, the best amount of memory, the most storage, the 10 gigabit Ethernet. So we're talking about 1% of the price of the Mac Pro. 1% of the price of the Mac Pro spec'd out. And this computer running circles around it. And we're talking about the Mac Mini Pro. We're not even talking about the Mac Studio. Because the Mac Studio maxed out will be running circles around it 5 million times. So, and it's still there. It is still there. Come on, Apple, just remove it. Please let me wake up one day and the Mac Studio, the Mac Pro is just not there. Just let me wake up one day and it's not there. And I understand the transition hasn't happened yet. And to tell the truth, tell me what you think in the comments. Do you believe that Apple will be keeping this form factor? Because really and truly, Apple don't need this form factor with the Apple Silicon. They don't need it. Because memory don't have to be that big size anymore. I know that with the Mac Pro, they normally give you the options to add memory and probably add video cards and etc. I don't think they will be given the option to add video cards. Based on that, they're using Media Engine now and stuff like that. I believe that they will be giving options to add memory and probably storage. So that's the flexibility that I believe the new Mac Pro, the Mac Pro that will be coming with Apple Silicon sometime soon, because nobody knows. There are speculations, but all the speculations speculated that it should have been here already. It's not here. Maybe sometime in 2023, it will arrive, but it's not here as yet. So, this configuration, this look, if they are using the Apple Silicon, and the speculation is saying that they'll be using the M2 Ultra instead of the M2 Extreme, which is 2 Ultra come together. So I think they're having some cooling issue with the putting 2 Ultra together. So they're just going to use the M2 Ultra or the M3 Ultra depending on when the Mac Pro comes out. So I don't know, because this computer is a big computer, and if the Mac Studio is this small and the Mac Mini is that small and they are packing the level of power that they're packing, why would Apple go and build a computer like the Mac Pro that they currently have? I don't think so. I personally don't think so. Mind you, they can make it look similar, and if they do keep the same form factor, there'll be a lot of empty space, because one of the reasons why it has this form factor, is the Intel chip. The Intel chip need a lot of cooling. So if we go through this thing, you can see the level of cooling. We're looking at 3 big fans at the front. Look at the Intel chip. Look at that Intel chip. Look at that heatsink. Are you seeing that heatsink? The level of cooling that the Intel chip need is the reason why this computer is so big. The reason why the Mac Studio is so small. The reason why the Mac Mini is the same size is because the Apple Silicon chips are very, 1, power efficient, and 2, they don't require that massive amount of cooling. That's the reason why it can be in the MacBook Air. And the MacBook Air is doing ridiculous stuff. So these PCI slots allow you to add like memory and afterburner cards and all of these other stuff. Other video cards and stuff like that. I don't think the new Mac Pro will need all of that. I don't think the new Mac Pro will need all of that, based on what the Apple Silicon is doing, based on the Media Engine, based on everything about the M chips. They don't need all of this. So I am hoping, as a Apple stand, so to speak, that Apple don't keep this form factor. That's my hope. They probably will, because this form factor is very premium. It have a certain look and all of that. And a lot of persons have, how would I say, invested in it already. But unless they have the option to send it to Apple, and then Apple guts it and put in the new stuff, them and send it back, because a lot of the stuff in this current one is not needed in the new one. The next thing is that when you try, even if you have a Mac store, even if you spend $52,000 at the time when you purchase the Mac Pro, and you are doing a trade-in with the Mac, it's so ridiculous. You are doing a trade-in with the Mac Pro right now in 2023. So you bought this in 2019, $50,000. And you are trading in this computer in 2023, 4 years later. Do you have an idea how much Apple is willing to pay you for this computer? It's ridiculous. Apple is willing to pay less than $1,000. MKHB spoke about it. $970 to be exact. Apple is willing to give you. So if Apple themselves undervalue the Mac Pro so much that you spend $50,000 with them on this computer, and they are willing to give you only $970. You can't even buy the Mac, the Mac, the Studio. What name again? The XDR, the Pro XDR. You cannot even buy the Pro XDR stand. You cannot even buy the Pro XDR stand with what Apple is willing to give you for the Mac Pro. That is not good. So, my conclusion is that Apple is killing this computer. Well, it has already been dead. But Apple is gonna change the form factor. Because if they are not willing to give, right now, as far as I see it, if you have this computer, keep it, put it on a shelf. If you're a YouTuber, use it in the background of your videos and stuff like that. It makes no sense you selling back this computer, because the value of this computer has dropped so ridiculously. You can't even get 0.5% off the money for the computer. 0.5% of the money back for this computer. That is ridiculous. But again, Apple know what they're doing, and I appreciate that Apple has made this transition. We have to give them a big round of applause for that. We have to give them a big round of applause for moving from Intel into their own chips, the Apple Silicon, the M chips, which make computing, make persons like myself can afford professional computing without breaking the bank. And thank you again, Apple, for that. Well, that's it. That's the reason why I think Apple killed the Mac Pro, well, at least this version, until they release the next version. I'm Shango. This is Shango Tech. See you in the next one. Bless up yourself.